Okay, hello guys. This is my first video of my Yasuo school series that I will start right now on this channel. I will take a look on everything you need to know to be an advanced Yasuo player. But today's video is just about Yasuo's basic ability, the Q. If you already know how the Q works, you can skip to the time that the video shows. But now, let's start. Yasuo's Q does damage in a line that scales with ability level. If you stack up the Q 2 times, the next Q will be a tornado. I will say nado from now on, just to keep it short. That knocks up enemies in a line that is bigger and has a bigger range than previous Q. If you execute an EQ combo, your Q will be an area instead of a line. And if you have the first stack of your Q ready, all enemies within that area will be knocked out. The cooldown doesn't scale with the ability level and not even with CDR. The CDR of the Q can just be reduced with attack speed to a max point of 1.4 attack speed, which gives you 60% CDR on the ability with a result of 1.33 cooldown from 2.17 at level 18. Because the cooldown scales with attack speed, you also got cooldown per champion level, but also has great impact on the cooldown. The Q crits differently on all targets, which means when you have less than 100% crit chance, your Q can crit the first but doesn't have to crit the second one. So as example, if you finished Phantom Dancer and then use the Q on 2 enemies that stay in a line, the chance of quitting each one of them is 60%. You can Q again while you knock up an enemy with the third stack, while the enemy is still in midair. What is helpful for some other tricks we will discuss later. But now let's start with the tricks. The tricks are sorted by difficulty and will get harder. But if you train, I'm sure you will be able to get them all in game. The first trick is a very simple one. You can check hidden areas and zones with your Q and you will hear a sound when you hit the target, or you can just check if you got a Q stack. That can be a jungle camp, a champion hiding in a bush, or something behind a wall. The next trick is as easy as the first one. You can throw a hidden nado when you press W and then the Q. This will avoid your Q animation completely and the enemy won't see it coming, while you will still save some time by blocking a spell and getting a knock up on the enemy at almost the same time. There are ways to use your Q between auto attacks, but you have to be careful, otherwise you can also cancel your auto attack, what will hurt your DPS. It works very simple. You have to use your Q right after an auto attack hits the enemy. If you Q right before, then the attack might get cancelled. As you can see in this example, I always Q right before my auto attack, but always cancelled. I also tried to do this right here, without any attack speed items. You should see the difference now better. And this is me cancelling single basic attacks with Qs. In the next trick we're gonna use a Q in mid-air while we cast our ult, and this is basically free damage because we can't auto attack and the enemy can't avoid the Q either. We can also use the Q hit sound if we guess that an enemy is behind a wall or in a bush, and if we hear the sound of the Q applying to the enemy, we can put some vision down like a trinket or a ward, or we just W into or the bush or over the wall and then can hold the target. Now we get to use the fast EQ combo. The fast EQ combo is the same as the normal EQ combo, but because somehow the cooldown is lowered when we E at the right second, we can EQ way faster than normal and save time. This is how it looks normally. And this is how the fast version looks like. You can clearly see how my Q cooldown gets resetted every time. Getting the right time is a bit hard at first, but after a few tries you will get a feeling for it. But after that it should be easy to reproduce. The next trick is really easy to do, while it gives you an important advantage of time and duelist potential. When you want to use your ult onto a target, you still have some time while the enemy is in mid-air. And like I said earlier, we can use the time to get another Q without stopping us from ulting the enemy, and we also get a few Q stack to get the knockup easier after you landed the ult. And if you already have your Q stack ready, or if we combine this trick with our previous trick that we can ult in mid-air after ulting a target, we instantly get the third Q after the enemy landing on the ground. So as you probably know, League can be a very fast game where timing is really important. And if you want to finish a target without the possibility to flash, you can Q, wait until the cast time is almost done, and flash to the target. But be careful with that. Yes, your third Q gives some extra range, but the animation is slower because the Q actually has to travel the way to the enemy. It gives more time to flash react. As you can see, the normal flash Q instead of Q flash is not that fast. The next trick will give you multiple resources of damage to the enemy, because your flying Q will hit the enemy at the same time as your following basic attacks. You can also combine this with a Q between the following auto attacks, and this will give you even more burst. I missed to do the last basic attack after the Q, right here, but it's still worth it. The last flash trick I will present might be the coolest one with the most style points, but the trick is also hard to execute in comparison to the other tricks. What we actually do is we do the EQ combo, but first we only E, with a ready third Q stack to an enemy or a minion or whatever, and Q and flash after using the E to get to the target we want to hit, and this will give him no time to flash away or to do anything else. This is also pretty nice to surprise the enemy team with a following ult to that combo, what could win the next team fight. But I highly recommend trying this out before in a custom game or with the practice tool. Otherwise it could end in wasting flash, getting killed, losing the team fight because of how we fight, losing the game at massive flame plus extra tilt. And we don't want to be that kind of Yasuo players, right? Next are some item combos, and we start with Hydra, since this item has a few things you should know when you animation cancel with it. The first really important thing is that you only can cancel the animation when you Hydra Q and not Q Hydra. That's the only way. And as you can see right here, the timing is a bit tricky at first, but still it's possible if you did it a few times, and it looks pretty cool. Because the third Q has to move and isn't instant, the Hydra animation will end even before you can see the nado. Every item that has an honor effect only lands on the first target that gets hit by the normal Q or the NATO Q, it doesn't matter at all. Both versions have the same rule. So only the first target will proc Hydra. But of course, multiple targets can get hit by the Hydra of the first target. This is the same for the Ravenous Hydra and for the Titanic Hydra, as you can see here. And it's also the same for Trinity. Really good here is that the Trinity proc you activate with using the Q will also be applied to the same Q for more damage. You can also just use the Trinity on the fly to take turrets faster or to prepare the Trinity on hit for a fight that is about to begin. But Hydra still has one more combo. You can E then Hydra Q fast to use Hydra at the same time as your area Q. Yeah, that was my first video of my Yasuo school guide, guys. I hope it could help you. I hope you understood everything well. And I hope I see you on my other videos. See ya and have a good one.